to Magical Humans. Welcome to Storytelling Time with Mac from Full and Plenty Joy. I am coming to you today from newly added Magical Garden Flower Deck. That's the official name. My mom was actually visiting me from New York, where I'm originally from, this past week. First time since the pandemic hit, so that was really exciting. And on the solstice, we went to the local nursery and got some flowers, some flower magic. And for me, that's a really beautiful connection to my grandmother, Granny Main, and Elizabeth McIntyre, who was a garden witch, kitchen witch. So I have some messages that I've been seeing in the magical world around me reflected back, and I wanted to share them with you. One of them being kind of with the solstice, summertime, this like fullness, this like full bright energy. And as the world opens up, I can definitely feel in my own body and in my surrounding community just like this like energy, like we can do this, and like let's go do that, and so many things to do, which is such a blessing after so much isolation and lots of anxiety. So it's been really exciting. And I also recognize in myself as a recovering people pleaser, as a someone recovering from a chronically hyperactivated nervous system, where I can tend to just like be like up here, like go, that it's been a lot more difficult to actually settle and find center in my body and connection to like deep roots in the ground, with having socializing being an option again. And so I just want to normalize for anyone out there who part of them feels like, oh my gosh, I want to like do all these things and hang out with all the people and be outside and be out in the world, and this other part that's like, what is going on? Like, this is a lot, this is too much, this is going too fast, like I don't know if I want to go out, like I actually would rather like stay inside and be home and be with my flowers, that push and pull. That's super normal, and I think that's something that we're going to be navigating through the end of the year. But I just want to encourage folks to allow yourself to just orient to what feels good, like orient to what is actually giving you energy, giving you nourishment, having that like reciprocal relationship, and not just draining. Because it's okay, like that's what summer's for. Summer is when we're out and about, and like the sun, in the Gaelic tradition, Lu is the god of the sun, of sovereignty, of craftsmanship, of multi-talented. So there's this energy of abundance and fullness, and that's one of the other things I wanted to talk about with you all is the full moon in Capricorn that's happening tomorrow. And this always just being a time of like, wow, like what is here, what is being illuminated for me, what can I see more clearly, and what is at its fullness, what feels full, what feels complete, what is maybe ready to be released into the world of my work, what is something that maybe it's a belief I've been working on, or behavior I've been trying to change, or a relationship I've been trying to like figure out my boundaries around, but just like what is actually here and ready to just be now, or celebrate, or release into the world, since the full moon invites us into that moment. And this week being such a beautiful week of both celebrating the solstice and that fullness, and of pride, of full, authentic, unapologetic expression, and love, and liberation. So that is some really glorious energy to see if you can just like bask in and take in, and internalize for your highest and best. And something else I've been noticing is like I've been seeing spiders everywhere. literally everywhere. I mean, I think they tend to come out more in the heat, but I'm just noticing that. And in this particular deck, the animal spirit deck, the way they orient to the spider is that it's about kind of weaving your life's work, your beautiful web of your authentic magic and medicine of what you're meant to contribute back to the collective, and building this interconnected, interdependent web of magic and wonder and fabulousness together. It also kind of reminds, it's a earth card, and earth, I always think of the redwoods and how you have these magnificent tall redwoods, and they're like nice and big and full and taking up this space, but they're not crowding anyone else out. They're really just taking up the space that they are meant to take, and their magic doesn't detract, like another redwood tree doesn't detract from another redwood tree's magic. Like, that's ridiculous. That's just like capitalism stuff. So within all of that, how there's also this like element of your work and your purpose, and purpose doesn't necessarily mean like your surviving capitalism job. Purpose can mean how you're supporting your family. Purpose can mean how your role in a community. Purpose could be usually what your north node is. So check that out in your astrological birth chart, what your north node is. But all of this to say that such beautiful energy going on right now, and also just like kind of a heads up that when I pulled I also pulled the Queen of Wands, which is this beautiful, again, this like fullness, this sun card. They have like sunflowers in their hand, like creativity, authentic expression. Like you are literally a magic wand, and you're creating all around you. So again, it's still this like full energy, this like life's work energy with the Queen of Wands, and that's what I pulled from the top. But from the bottom, I'm laughing just because it's just kind of hilarious. But we've got all of these cards, a bit of like grief card, loss, but also still having things. We've got like, oh, we've been working, trying to figure things out, build something important. We've got like, oh my gosh, these thoughts in our head, these intrusive thoughts, these critical thoughts, these old beliefs and inherited ancestral beliefs that are just like, harming us, like kind of knocking us down and feeling like, oh my gosh, will I ever be able to get back up? That kind of submit response that oppressive systems of hierarchy and power can do to us. They can force us into a submit response. And I know that's kind of what was happening for me in the pandemic. I was like, is this ever gonna change? Like, honestly, I really didn't think it was going to. So, wow, what a blessing. Also, we've been planting seeds for our work, right? We've been in this internal space throughout pandemic. We've been in the hanged one situation, kind of suspended, learning how to surrender, learning how to just like exist in the void and not really being able to plan very far into the future. So these were all cards that were at the bottom of the deck, which I tend to think of like either what we've just come through, or what's kind of more unconscious. And so I name this because I feel as though as we move into the fall, which is this time of going back inside, of kind of reflecting and harvesting like what's here, and also just it's just a much different energy than the summer when we're out and about and being with people and socializing, and we're like kind of up here. Fall will start to bring us back down, and so just naming that there will likely be more grief and that we'll actually need to process this more together. Whereas right now, at least the interactions I'm having with folks, we're using a lot of humor and a lot of levity to kind of dive into like the realities of what we've just been through together, which is an unbelievably traumatic situation that continues. It's not over. So finding this beautiful balance, which I love with the symbolism of the solstice kind of being halfway through the year, how can we find that balance of both like absorbing in and resourcing ourselves with the sun and with all these flowers and beautiful relationships and energy that we can take in and use to channel creatively into our work, into our relationships, into whatever we define as like our purpose, our reason for being in this body, in this life, while also holding space for the reality that we're still, like, this is also still in our body, all of this, and it's right there in the unconscious. So maybe journaling, writing your dreams down, maybe making sure you have enough solo time, the joy of missing out versus the fear of missing out, giving yourself permission, and maybe starting to get some supports in place for the fall, letting summer be fun, and then fall, of course, still be fun, but just recognizing that there is a lot to process as we move back into the darker half of the year and closer to Samhain. Yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to share with you, beautiful people. I am wishing you a happy solstice, a happy full moon, and a gloriously happy Pride.